Kick us off, sir. You're the leader of this one.
Am I?
You absolutely are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of throw this question out to the universe. Are you curious? Do you like to know what's happening and what's coming and what's exciting? Do you like tech? Would you like a high-paying, interesting job with lots of opportunities? Just toss those questions out to the universe. Excuse me. I think it's to you now.
All right. Well, I will catch the question that you have just thrown upon me. That's what we're getting to the point of today, folks, is how to be curious. And our guest today is an incredible human being who I absolutely adore. And she has spent a lot of her time really building the next generation of people who feel like cybersecurity is for them, feel like information technology is for them. And so leading young people just in an incredible way. And I can't wait for you guys to hear from our next guest. This is Get to the Point.
Welcome to Get to the Point podcast, the podcast where we talk to real IT people about real IT stuff, and we try to dig in behind the tech that's all around us every day and make it a little bit more human.
Yeah.
I'm Andy Middlemas.
I'm Brandi Mentley. And today we are welcoming Dr. Ashley Podhradsky. And there's a lot. I have like a 2 or 1.5 page write-up on you here, and I'm going to read this for our listeners because I think we're going to set the stage for how incredible our next guest is. Ashley is the Vice President for Research and Economic Development at Dakota State University, a professor of digital forensics, and the co-founder of CybHER, a cyber outreach program that has reached thousands of people from K-12 through college and beyond. Her research teams have secured more than $26.5 million in competitive grants and contracts for organizations including NSA, NSF, and Google. She serves on the board of directors for First Bank and Trust, was appointed by Governor Roden to the Governor's Resilience and Infrastructure Task Force, and has been honored at the Smithsonian as one of 120 women recognized for excellence in STEM. Whew, I just got goosebumps. Ashley, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Tell me something good.
Well, thank you for having me. And something good. Right now, we have 100 kids on campus, high school juniors and seniors that are learning about cybersecurity at camp. And next week, we have our 13th camp for middle school girls.
Oh, that's incredible. That is something good.
It is. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I love that. Digging into this episode, Ashley, I did a little research on Dakota State University. Someone is going to fact check me, which is our executive producer, Jasmine. And before I dig into these facts, there are 2 individuals that I want to recognize today. Alex Connor is the man behind, he's, constantly, making sure our mics are, together and that the episodes are edited. He's just an incredible, talented human. And Jasmine, our executive producer, who keeps us absolutely on track. But the reason why I want to recognize them today, they should be recognized every day because they're amazing. But today, they got up at 5 o'clock this morning. And they drove 4 o'clock. Okay, sorry. Jasmine is correcting me. She is not a morning person. Alex does not care because he is a morning person, but 4 a.m. to be here with us today so that we could bring this episode to you. So thank you both for being here and getting up so early.
Thank you.
Okay. So, all right, did a little digging. Someone's going to fact check me, but okay. So this was primarily a teacher's college, Dakota State College, in fact. And in 1984, the late Governor Bill Janklow signed a law that every program needed to have some element of technology, called A Brand New Day. Then, after that, shortly, Citibank moves into Sioux Falls, and they needed programmers. 2004, the NSA recognized DSU as a Center for Academic Excellence, one of 10. 2017, Mad Labs, the tech research was born. And now you guys have a Sioux Falls campus going up as well. Ashley, this is amazing. Can you tell us, bring us to current state, what are you building at DSU? And why does it matter?
Yeah, and that history is incredible. Our first president after the mission change was from Citi. and having that intentional partnership between emerging areas of critical infrastructure, in this case, the finance industry, in the way that technology in all areas of security is integrated into it. That's what we're building. When you think about when you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night, nearly your entire day is driven by technology. You're probably woken up from your phone or some smart device. You make coffee that might be automatic. You have all the IoT devices in your home. You check your email. You get in your car. As soon as I get in my car, it tells me it is 7 minutes to the Madison Cyber Labs because it knows my pattern. It knows where I'm going. Email, doctor, school, all of the things that we do from getting coffee to paying our bills is based on technology. And we need to ensure that all of that is secure. And so that's the future that we're working towards at the university is how do we take the things that we rely on and ensure that it's confidential, ensure that there's access to it, ensure the integrity of the data, and to make sure that what we rely on is there and it's safe and secure.
I love that. That's incredible. You guys have so much going on, and I think it's important to note too, not only what you're doing for the state of South Dakota, which I think is incredible, what you're doing in Young Minds, which I think is incredible, but you guys also partner with businesses outside of kind of the scope of just education. Can you talk a little bit about that as well for our listeners?
Yeah, I think that our students, our faculty, our university wins when we can take our area of expertise and help and support others. So we're doing a multitude of things. One area that comes to mind right now is with Case New Holland. And so we've been working with them on their tractors and their infrastructure to create an intrusion detection system that secures their equipment. And when you think about a tractor, you might think of what we grew up with. I think of my grandpa in his old open air grain tractor, right?
Absolutely.
But now it's all technology. It's an Internet of Things device. And so how do we keep that GPS coordination safe? How do we keep that data that's going up to the cloud safe? How do we work in that fashion? So we're working with partners all across the country on different mission-driven reasons and problem-solving approaches. So it's pretty exciting. We get a lot of grants to support our initiatives. So from the U.S. Small Business Administration, we received $1 million from them twice to help South Dakota small businesses be safe. And so we have a team of pen testers that are doing internal and external penetration tests, but also supported by students. So students are getting that experience, hands-on keyboard. How do we look at reconnaissance? How do we compromise known vulnerabilities? How do we gain a foothold? How do we cover our tracks? How do we do those things as a bad actor would do in order to help the business understand where their weaknesses and vulnerabilities lie? So we've been helping South Dakota small businesses for the last 3 years in that initiative with our Google Cybersecurity Clinic that takes that effort and brings it to schools, to healthcare, to nonprofits. So we're able to do those same core functions of cybersecurity assessments that we're known for, but to a different audience with different funding. So with the state of South Dakota, we've been partnering with them for the last 7 years for all local governments. So when most people think of state government, they think of the executive branch, but it's our local governments and counties that are doing the things that we need for our schools, our roads, transportation, commerce, and they don't have a lot of funding. And so we have funding through the Attorney General's office to conduct security assessments for all local governments, and we've been doing that for 7 years. So regardless if we're looking at a city, a township, or a small business, or a school, or a nonprofit, we have about a 95% success of full compromise. So we're able to get in, gain a foothold, and help them understand where we can help them be a little more cyber safe as well.
I love that. And I know you guys partner with CISA too, don't you?
Yes, yep. So our leader on the state side, Dr. Jim Edmond, he is a great partner of ours. And so I call him Dr. Edmond because he came to DSU a few years ago and they made him a plaque that said Dr. Jim Edmond. So
Nice.
I have not let that down since, and we're going to continue with that.
I love
So
that. And the next time we see him, we will
Totally
make
gonna
sure.
use
you
that.
have to
we will
call him
definitely use
Dr.
that.
Edmond. So all your listeners must call him Dr. Edmond. So I'm going to call him after this.
I
and
hope
let him
so.
know how that
Yes.
goes.
I
But
love it.
so yes, so CISA then works with our entities on risk assessments. So Carnegie Mellon developed a very great, robust approach to risk assessments, and so he does a risk assessment side for them, and then we do the technical evaluation. In a small state, we have to work together. We have to partner together, and I love our relationship with our federal partners in that area.
That's incredible. Well,
Yeah, I love this concept of an educational institution that is partnering
Yeah.
with business and with local and state government. There's not enough of that. As in a technology company, it's really hard to find people who have skills and attitude and aptitude, to come be part of what you're doing as a business. So you guys are doing some brilliant things in that space.
Yep.
I'd love to dig in a little bit on the camps.
Yeah.
Because you probably hear people say all the time, one time at cyber camp.
yes,
That is a common
I hear
phrase.
it quite
Yes, common
Yeah,
phrase.
I have,
So
yep.
love to hear a little bit more about the camps.
Yeah. So we bring kids from all across the country to the university to spend a week with us to learn hands-on cyber, but we make it fun. So next week with the girls camp. So middle school girls, rising 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It's my daughter's second year where she's been eligible. So I was pregnant with her the first year of camp. And then she's been at every camp ever since. So that's really neat. Even before she was quite old enough for it, she was there. And I love that. But it's all about showing kids what the future of cybersecurity is. And, as kids are growing up, they want to be what they can see. My son was going to be Batman for the longest time. My daughter was going to be a professor because that's what she saw. It's a very little different approach there. But how many kids know what a digital forensic expert is? How many kids know what a red teamer is or network design? It's just not something that you see on cartoons. And so you might see hackers, but you don't see the other side, the defenders, the protectors. And so how do we help kids understand what this field is? And that's a whole concept. If she can see it, she can be it. And so our camps, Mary Horvath is a leading forensic expert with the FBI, and I bring her to camp every year. And Jessica Hyde, she's an international digital forensic expert, and so they show the kids what kind of digital data is on your phone. So instead of lecturing to the kids about, make sure you make good choices, don't take a picture, don't send that snap, we recover them. We recover deleted photos. We recover deleted text messages. We go and see the web traffic on phones. So we help them understand how these very common devices in their lives are used and how they could perhaps make better decisions with their technology as well. So we put the dots close enough together for them to connect them themselves instead of just lecturing to them. So it's all hands-on. It's all serving a social purpose as well. But it's incredibly fun. We teach the girls how to crack passwords. Not because we're trying to create little hackers, and we don't send them home with tools on how to do it. But the whole purpose is that for your whole professional career, how many times have you gone through password management and identity management training? And so as you do that, it doesn't really hit home. But if you can see how easy it is to crack a password, you know to make better passwords. So they'll first crack the hash, and the password is password one bang, which we all use, and it takes a fraction of a millisecond. So that we say, create something stronger, but we don't define stronger. So they create it, then we show them how to make the hash, and then they crack it again. And so iteration by iteration with the algorithm that we're using, it's going to take a couple hundred years with current computing power to crack that password. And so then the next time they have to make a password, They know how to make a good one and why it's important to make a good one. So that's what we do. It's all hands-on. It's all fun. And, but you get kids from all areas of life from all around the country.
Very
Wow.
cool. So it's not really just technology training. I mean, there's some life lessons.
Oh, yeah.
In
Social
there that you're going to walk
engineering.
away with some tangible,
Yes.
tangible things that you can apply to your life, whether you go into tech or not.
Well,
right?
exactly, because every job, tell me a job that doesn't rely on technology as a backbone. Medical, commerce, retail, it doesn't matter. You have to have it. And we know that, every person in a company has the opportunity to better protect it. And so people say people are the weakest link. I don't like that. I like to flip it, where we can say, hey, every single person has the opportunity to keep our company secure. And so they're less likely to be the ones that click on the link that start the cyber attack.
Yeah, love that. So as you've gone through 13 years now,
Yeah.
Of these camps, so now you've got some history.
Yeah, we do.
Now you've got people who were in the earlier camps. Are out in the industry. They're out in the workforce. Any interesting success stories of just some people who have come up through the camps and that was their introduction and they just thought that was cool and that's the direction they went. I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. I love this question. Since we started the outreach with CybHER, the camps and all of that, we've had a 350% increase in women in our Beacom College programs of computer and cyber science. And so it's not women at the sake of men. It's women because we don't have enough, period. We don't have enough professionals in this space. And so there's so many anecdotes of students that we met in the classroom that came to camp, that came to DSU and are now phenomenal leaders out in industry, and we bring them back to help teach the kids. So I probably shouldn't say names because they're working in different federal government agencies. But a great student of mine, well, she's not a student of mine, she's a professional working for the NSA in Hawaii.
Very cool.
But bringing her back. And so it is so great to bring back the women that we once met as middle schoolers in classrooms who are now kind of kicking butt in what they do in helping protect us all.
That's cool. I mean, I think it's kind of cool that you got, NSA, people going around saying, hey, one time at cyber camp.
At Dakota State University.
Very cool.
Yes.
I think that's just awesome. So what's the vision and the evolution of the camp project or whatever we're calling that? What does that look like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Is
How do you see
world
it evolving?
domination too high of a bar
No,
here? Or
no.
where do
I
we
love
want to? Okay.
We're all about world domination. Thank you. Yeah.
Solving
One
the
world
problem.
at a time,
Yes,
though.
yes, one world at a time. Absolutely. The whole point is to help kids understand what a career looks like and what opportunities exist. And we want to help them as they're deciding the different career options that they have in front of them. So that's, to me, is the core of this. We want to help set kids up for great, successful careers that's having a direct impact on the world that we rely on to do everything every day.
That's
Very cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
You talk a little bit about getting more girls involved and women involved, because I think for so long, I've worked with you quite a while and it has been primarily male dominated, and you're absolutely right. It's not about trying to take over one or the other, but I'm really curious on, making this relevant for these kids. I think it goes more than, just based on what you're saying, it goes more than showing them what a career could look like. It's showing them how to be responsible with the tech that's all around them too. And I think that is a huge thing that I think parents struggle with. And so having that extra help is huge. But can you talk to me about opening the eyes, both boys and girls, but girls, and making IT approachable to women? I think there's just something magical about that. And I agree. I want all the women to just kick butt in IT. But talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great career field. And growing up, you probably were asked the same questions that I was. Are you good in math and science? And that's been the foundation. And as you noted right away, we've flipped that. Are you curious? Do you like to know what's happening? Do you like to know how it's happening? Do you like to understand the newest technology and how things work? And to me, that's the corner of should you explore a career in this space? And as a parent, we all want opportunities that are endless for our kids. We want them to have high-paying jobs that allow them to have upward mobility and high job satisfaction. And so that also is cyber and tech. That's what this space is. And looking at that as the foundation. Growing up, I didn't have my first cell phone until I was in college. Prior to that, it was car phones and beg phones,
absolutely.
and you guys remember all of those things.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
But now we live in a rural area of our town, and so there's not neighbors everywhere, and we don't have a landline. So my kids have had cell phones for quite some time. They need to be able to get a hold of us. I like to be able to track them when they leave school and walk to my office or where it is that they are. And so having that technology is something, it's a responsibility. And so making sure that they're locked down, but yet they understand that, I could make a little mistake with a Polaroid camera and a handwritten note as a kid. You can't make that same mistake with a text message and a photo that's digital. And so helping them avoid some of those areas as well is a corner of what we do, because one mistake can haunt you and follow you in ways that it just didn't when we were kids.
I love that.
Back to life lessons again.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note too, like even if they're not working in the field, they walk away with that knowledge and that responsibility, or at least a little bit more awareness of that responsibility and what it means. I love that.
You reminded me of a family story. So my granddaughter, who's now 16.
I hate when you say that. It makes me so sad.
I know. There was some discussion in their household about her getting a cell phone. This was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And the rule was 13 years old. You can get a cell phone. And that was not the right answer for her. Mm-hmm. And so she's trying to leverage me here. She says, well, she calls me Ampa, which I love.
By the way, she's going to the right person.
Yeah.
She says, I want to make sure that she knows that.
Ampa, how old were you when your mom let you get your first cell phone? And I said, 36. Mm-hmm. Which brings me back to the comment you made about the Smithsonian, because I think of my first computer system, which I believe was called the Commodore 64.
Yeah, you could probably find one at a
You could probably find, you've probably seen it in a museum. You've probably seen me in a museum, because I'm also old. But, the only thing that was connected to was the TV.
Correct.
And we played stupid, ridiculous games on it, Pong and Asteroid and a couple of other things.
Great games. Yeah.
They're coming back in some of the arcades now, which is super fun. But flash forward a ways, and you start to see these plots in movies and TV shows about gaming consoles being used for espionage and kidnapping things, and what was it, Kiss the Girls or whatever, Along Came a Spider, whatever that was. That was kind of the premise of how they were, the bad actors were manipulating people. And, you start to see those early and you go, that's not real. But I know you've got some examples and some experience when Xbox first came around.
Yeah.
And now it's connected to everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So when growing up, I had a Nintendo, the original gaming console, and Super Mario Brothers. You got to rescue the princess and conquer King Koopa. But if I wanted to play with someone, I would play against Luigi or, get someone to come over. Devices were those you connected to the TV. You're absolutely right. You have to blow on the cartridge to make sure it still works.
I remember that, yeah.
But, we've gone from rudimentary devices to communication devices. And early in my career, and it just sounds like so long ago, but, digital forensics, always investigating computers, I wanted a challenge. And I wanted to look at new things that people were using to connect. And I was a professor at Drexel in Philadelphia, and I started to do a lot of research in this area about how bad actors were using it to steal virtual goods and virtual currency, digital currency, communicate. I helped with a murder trial, quite a few drug cases that dealt with gaming consoles as well. So when people are connecting in chat rooms, you can get that metadata behind it. So this gamer tag was communicating with this gamer tag. They sent each other these items, and later on they cashed them out for different values. So you can see how people are using these environments to conduct their criminal activities. So it's, whatever technology has been created, bad actors find a way to go at it. We did a case about a bad actor dropping drugs and phones into a restricted area with drones. And so looking at those devices, so it's just people are, criminals, some of them are just very intelligent in how they're able to take something that's designed for one way and do something completely different with it. So it's really fun to take a look at those devices and start to reverse engineer, if you will, see what data we can find, how we can analyze it, what it means, and how we can use it in criminal investigations.
Very interesting. I would imagine, the game consoles now are just massively sophisticated compared to an Xbox.
Yeah, and encrypted. And so that's a big difference. When I started a lot of this research, it had the FATX file system, and it wasn't encryption. It was security by obscurity, if you will. Okay. They were, but now, my son has a PlayStation and others, and they're fully encrypted. And so it's just another level. But technology is changing, and all the ways people use it and communicate is always evolving.
And how does that extra sophistication and encryption and all of that, how does that play into this? Bad actors using those kinds of platforms, does it make it easier for them, harder for them?
Makes it harder for the good people to investigate?
Okay.
Yes, to investigate it. So Facebook turned on end-to-end encryption on their messaging platform, which really, sorry Facebook, but it's true. It just turns a blind eye to all the things that were happening. You had a lot of bad people sending illicit photos through that messaging app, and they would have cyber tips through it. And the cyber tips would be alerted to NCMEC and others areas that were investigating that level of child endangerment activity. They turn on end-to-end encryption, and now there's no reports.
Interesting.
So yes, every layer of, I'm not advocating against security by any means because it's important, but when we know that bad actors are using something and you're doing, 1 million tips every year to now 0 because we can't see it.
Makes it easier for them to hide.
It does. Yeah.
Interesting things. So just curious, and this is more of a personal question. So as a concerned grandfather, and I watch Drew, so far he's gaming with kids he knows.
Yeah.
Which is not terribly concerning, but what should you be concerned with, either as a gamer or as a parent or a grandparent?
Right.
And how do you guide someone to keep them out of trouble in that space?
I wish I had all the answers to this, because I'm, as a parent, I'm dealing with this myself, and it's that layered approach that, when you let them play with some device and you are bringing in any outsider that into your home. Yeah. And so we have a rule that if you're going to do this and play in this area, you're going to do it in the living room. So you're not in your room. We can hear it. We can see it. We have different apps that look at the traffic on the devices and monitor it for grooming behavior. There's a tool called Bark that I like to use. It looks at all the communication and it'll alert parents that there's anything that's going on. And so making sure that, and my kids hate this, but Roblox and others, there are kid level protections, but they might not be able to play all the games that they want. Well, too bad. So we're going to put all those restrictions on. So, it is that layered approach that, for the technology company, they need to have some ways to monitor. They need to have some restrictions in place. But as a parent, we have to be responsible for what we let our kids do. And so making sure that we see it, we go through it. I go through my kids' phones with them. They hate it. But we're going to sit down and take a look at this and make sure we're making good choices as well. But I'm sure there's things I've missed, and I'm sure there's things that all parents miss. And how can we work with our kids and the platforms that we allow our kids on?
It's incredible. I love that.
Interesting.
That's all great conversation. I just as a parent myself, I don't have a young child anymore, but I mean, still, I mean, it's the technology is always there. Everything that they're exposed to, it's just an uphill battle, and sometimes.
One thing that makes me incredibly sad about this space, every year there's usually a dozen or so young men in our country that commit suicide through sextortion. So they will be communicating Snapchat or what have you with someone that they think is a young female, and that female will send the male pictures. And they say, okay, so I'm going to send you this, you send me this. And they go back and forth, they gain trust. You know, initially you're going to have those conversations of where are you from, where do you go to school, all of that, and then photos come. Well, what happens is that person that they're communicating with clearly is not the person of the photos, but they're just using them. And so once they get those photos of the young man, they then use it to extort them. I need you to give me money, or, you know, I know you go to school here. I know you're this years old. I'm going to talk to your coach. I'm going to talk to your teachers, send it to your parents. And they see no other way out besides suicide. And that happens way too frequently in our country, about a dozen cases that I know of every year. And so having that conversation with your kids that, hey, even if you get in over your head, okay, that's a lesson, but it's not worth your life. Mm-hmm. We can work through this together. We can help in this situation. So, you know, it's a good reminder to parents of kids that are even 17, 18, 19, high school, college age, that conversation's important still.
I love that. Thank you for bringing light to that. That's incredible. I didn't even know that. And absolutely. I guarantee that somebody will hear that today, and I hope it helps. So thank you. Shifting gears a little bit about what you're building at Dakota State.
Yeah.
Just when we first introduced and you were talking about just the partnerships that you have and working with small business, but you're also building tomorrow's IT professionals.
Yes.
Which I think is incredibly amazing. But talk to me about how people tap into that pipeline. And, you know, again, I think Andy talked about in our last episode, and so did Dean Sheely, about, you know, finding an IT professional is sometimes not as easy as you think it is, right? Or it's a little challenging. And so tell us a little bit about just this next generation of student that's coming out. I know we talk about AI every episode, going to talk about it here, you know, how you're preparing them, and then how people tap into that pipeline. Because it looks like you've got a lot of programs that help the state, but these IT professionals coming out, how do they tap into those?
Yeah, we have a 99.9% placement rate for our students.
Wow.
99.9% placement, and we've had that for 20 years.
That's incredible.
And our core
That's
cyber,
amazing.
It is. And so our core cyber programs, we have associates to PhD. So if you're curious about networking, we do have an associate's degree, but bachelor's is, you know, more common, master's, PhD. So we have that full stack in all of those areas, including cyber operations, which is the offensive side, cyber defense, and then artificial intelligence and computer science as well. And so we are creating the workforce of tomorrow in all of those different areas of cyber. It's really exciting to see our students when they first come in as a freshman versus when they leave. There's a lot of growth that happens. But one of the things that we do on the training side for our students, in addition to the classroom, is competitions. So our students compete all across the world. They won the pen testing collegiate cyber competition globals last year. This year, we won the Cyber Defense CCDC Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. I mean, we're competing against all of the universities out there.
It's very cool.
We just won a competition at MIT on Bitcoin. It was a new platform that they created in that area. So how to solve a problem in that space. So lots of hackathons, lots of competitions. Excuse me. And we're working to help train them in those areas. So, you know, students get a lot in the classroom. They learn from their faculty. We have phenomenal faculty. They get hands-on experience in jobs that we have on campus and internships with businesses. but the competitions are where they can fine tune those skills.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. Wow. Oh, oofta.
Oofta.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Okay.
This stuff just charges me up. And the fact that that institution is here in South Dakota, just
it's very cool.
Yeah, it's extremely incredible. I keep using that, like the double,
That's
positives.
that's
It's not a
quite
double
right.
negative, it's a double positive.
I like double positives.
Yeah, I like them better than double negatives. Okay,
too.
so we're going to shift gears a little bit. So we are out of questions.
Or are we?
We are not out of questions. I did tell her the secret before because she did ask about the obscene,
Okay.
It's a
bingo
really
wheel
cool
with,
looking-
You are the only one who's ever asked in advance, what is
No one has
that
ever
for?
asked. That is
Nobody's
true.
ever, they just ignore it
So I
or
didn't.
pretend
I
it's
didn't
not
feel
there.
right just telling you to don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. Do you want to spin the wheel?
gonna spin the
And
wheel.
we'll.
Okay.
So how this works is we want to get to know you on a personal level. Obviously, we've gotten to know you from a professional level, and so we want our listeners to get to know you a little bit personally. And you have the option. You can answer it yourself, or you can, once you answer it, you can make us answer it as well.
Okay,
So you're not the
okay.
only one on the hot seat. But there you go.
Okay, if you had the opportunity to launch into space and orbit the Earth with no financial expenses to yourself, would you do it? I would be terrified, but yeah, I would. I would probably need a sedative to get up there. To be honest with you, I'd get a little motion sick, but I would. And I have my 10-year-old son, Hudson. He wants to be an astronaut. So he started as, wanting to be Batman. He did
Makes
space
sense,
camp.
flying, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, okay.
He did space camp at Kennedy Space Center 2 summers ago. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to Huntsville, Alabama to do space camp there. So if I said no to this, he would really
And he'd be like, yeah.
want to know why I said no to it. But I probably would need to be not aware as I'm going up because I don't even like roller coasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
How about you guys?
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm on the complete opposite end of that spectrum. I love roller coasters. I would be all over that. I would go in a minute. In fact, I would pay money to do that.
I'm similar to you. I do not like roller coasters. I'm terrified of heights. I think it'd be cool once I got up there. Yeah, of course I'd want to do it so you could say, hey, I got to
Go to space.
yeah. But I think once I'm up there, I'd probably be like, whoa, this is very aware of where I'm at in my surroundings. So even
Yeah.
if you did give me a sedative to get me up there, I'd also probably panic while up there.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
What could
How am I getting
possibly
back
go
down?
wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're in an aluminum tube in outer space. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. Yes.
Oh, shoot. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being a strong woman in IT. Thank you for just sharing your insight with us today and for shaping not only the young generation coming up, but this whole level of college students that are going out into the world. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. This has been fun.
And for helping us find the new generation of people who will help us advance our businesses as well. So thank you very much. This has been a great conversation. Really enjoyed it. Thank you all for joining. And remember, we are always here to help you get to the point.
But before we help you get to the point, we would love for you to subscribe to our podcast. Follow us on social media. Hit us up on our website. I always say this, but I mean it every time. If there is a subject that is just burning a hole in your pocket or keeping you up at night, please let us know. We would love to dig more into that challenge and hopefully get you some answers. All of you have a great day.